Right then, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Assetto Corsa Offline Championship. We are here for round number 6 of the 2021 Formula 2 Championship here at the Hungaroring for the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix here for Formula 2. Yes, we're back with more F2 action, and we continue the European leg of the calendar, and we are here for round 6 of the championship. So I did actually get that one right, but yeah, we continue the European leg here at the Hungaroring. Got 20 minutes of qualifying just ahead of us on board. We're currently with the man who's just about to set the first qualifying lap of the session, and as we will witness the first quali lap of the session, I will take you through the track. So, the Hungaroring, located near the village of Magyarod, just 15 kilometers off the city center of Budapest in Hungary. The track was opened in 1986. After the head of the FIA, Bernie Ecclestone, wanted to have a race across the Iron Curtain. And the Hungaroring became the first ever Formula 1 Grand Prix behind the Iron Curtain. Then, the track has hosted Formula 1 ever since its opening in 1986, every single year in fact. So it has been a very, very big staple of the Formula 1 calendar. You've also got the... you also formerly have the Hungarian Motorcycle Grand Prix for MotoGP. You also have the European Le Mans Series, World Superbikes, and even GT World Challenge Europe around here as well. Today, you have, disregarding Formula 1, you have TCR and also International GT Open. This track, which has been described as Monaco without walls, is very, is a very, very interesting one. That's to say the least. It's got a lot of twisty and a lot of bumpy corners as well. Lots of elevation, lots of tricky corners to nail, especially that turn 6 and 7 chicane, and just overall. The entirety of the second sector is just a tricky bunch, but usually we do see a lot of good racing as well, and we usually have had quite chaotic races here in the past, but seems to have quieted down a bit more in recent years. The layout which we are running, which has been in place since 2003, is 4.381 kilometers and features 40 turns. As we're now having the lap times coming on the board, you're just looking at the man who currently is fastest out of the bunch who set their lap times. Ollie Boaks is fastest with a 130.503 at the moment from Rowan Shotanos and then Gabriel Gomez. Nikhil Walji in 4th goes across the line then to set his first flying lap then. And now it is going to be interesting to see then, because all eyes will be on the championship here today, heading into the Hungaroring. Axel Socki, after his 4th place at Silverstone, takes the lead of the championship and leads by 11 points from Rodrigo Jimenez in the Prema and Michael Valdiak in the UNI Virtuosi. So championship not as close as it was heading into Silverstone, but it is still very, very close indeed. So make sure to monitor those position changes in qualifying very, very closely. Michael Valdiak, speaking of the Croatian man, he's just gone up into 4th with a 130.558. It's just 500ths off Ollie Boaks right now, so you can see how close the field is at the moment. Top 6 only separated by not even a 10th of a second, 800ths of a second in fact. It is looking really close then in the top 6 and the top 10 overall. Tobias Schulenberg and Ida Weitz actually set the same lap time, but Tobias gets it, then he gets the P10 position. Axel Socki down in 19th at the moment, so he hasn't had the greatest of opening laps. We'll see if the Norwegian will be able to improve on that later on into the session, though, as we see Valjak heading out of turn number 11 and then down into turn number 12. Sharp braking zone then as you head through the left-hander of turn 13. You can really see how narrow this track is as well compared to some other tracks. As Valjak comes into the pit lane, Tobias Schulenberg improves, going up into 8th. What about his teammate Rodrigo Jimenez across the line? The Brazilian, unfortunately, cannot improve and stays in 10th. Either way, both Premas in the top 10 for the time being. So we'll just have to wait and see if that will change, as we have 13 minutes to go in the session. Improvement there, that's Jake Tilsley going up into 7th with a 1:30.678. The man in the Triumph gets himself into the top 10 after a decent outing at Silverstone, scoring points once again, but was involved in an incident towards the later stage of the race, so he'll be looking to keep it clean here at Hungary. Jimenez then heading out of turn number 11 into sector 3. He's about 2/10 off Ollie Boaks then, who set a very, very good lap. Ollie Boaks, who was going to be on for a very good result at his home race as well, at Silverstone, but unfortunately for him, he was involved in an accident, which took him out late on into the race. So, yeah, Boaks will be trying to make amends for his retirement at Silverstone. So we're now looking at Aaron Curtis then. Curtis in last at the moment with a 1:31.547. The man who scored points, his first points of the season in fact, at Silverstone, will want to keep the ball rolling here at Hungarian and try and finish in the points once again. But at the moment, he won't be doing that if he starts in P22. Campos, who've gotten off to a really slow start compared to previous seasons, currently sit last in the team's championship, 10 points off the nearest constructor, Carlin, in 10th. So, yeah. Safe to say that in the second half of the season, Campos will really need to get their... well, they'll have to get their results up, that's to say the least. Curtis then's going to make his way around the final corner though now, and we'll see if he will be able to lift himself out of P22 then, as he now heads out of the final corner, and it's going to be across the line for Aaron Curtis. Improves, but he stays in 22nd. Good sign for the Irishman, but it's just not good enough for Aaron Curtis, and he stays in that dreaded last position. Did get about a 10th of an improvement on that lap, but he is still 2/10 off the man in second to last, Alex Luan, as Rowan Shotanus now goes across the line and gets himself onto provisional pole with that lap, but it's immediately usurped by Ida Weitz in the Carlin. Great lap from Ida Weitz, steals away the short-lived moment of glory from Rowan Shotanus, and Shotanus dropping down to third as Hoàng Minh Nguyen up into second. Great lap from the Vietnamese man, going all the way down from P20 to P3, that is, as Gabriel Gomez now gets himself up into P1. Quick succession of provisional pole times from a lot of these drivers in the field, and it's happened again by none other than the man who took the pole and the win last time out at Silverstone, Jean-Francois Bilot. who takes the provisional pole for himself then, and brings the lap time down to a 1:30.2, 3/10 of a second. The pole time improves in only a matter of seconds. That is incredible. And yeah, after that little sequence, Jean-Francois Bilot is your current provisional pole sitter. Great stuff from the Frenchman once again, who finally picked up his first race win since Azerbaijan in 2017. So, yeah, he has done very, very well for himself at the moment. But there's still 8 minutes to go, and it can't be emphasized better as Henry J. Brown then goes on to provisional pole in his Caruza. 1:30.2, goes about 0.08 of a second faster than Jean-Francois Bilot, and now takes a provisional pole. Qualifying, very, very exciting for the time being, and we have no idea who's going to end up a provisional pole. Feels like anyone at this point is going to be able to take it with how many improvements we have on the board. And yeah, we will just have to wait and see, ladies and gentlemen, on who actually will end up taking that P1 spot here in qualifying, because right now we are not able to tell who will be able to take pole here in Hungary. Henry J. Brown, though, he's got invite for company there up ahead. So, yeah, Henry J. Brown is not going to be too happy as he's going to face a bit of traffic on his flying lap, but he'll look to clear the Swede as much as possible, as the Norwegian Håkon Olsen getting very close to pole, but unfortunately only manages a P2 on 32.38. The Dams driver will be very, very happy about that, and Dams as a team as well, as they sit 2-3 at the moment in qualifying. That is absolutely incredible for the French outfit, as Rodrigo Jimenez goes up into P6, looking to get up there with Henry J. Brown. And we'll see if Rodrigo will be able to do it. Obviously, there's a championship on the line for him and Henry as well. So, all eyes will be on those two, and especially Rodrigo Jimenez, considering he's only 11 points off Axel Socki, who's down in 20th. And with 6 minutes to go, another question that is will be if Axel Socki will be able to take advantage of these rapid improvements and try and get himself up into the top 10. As there's an improvement from Tobias Schwulenberg. We were just talking about Jimenez, and now his teammate improves up into 4th with a 1:30.317. And their German driver gets himself on to the 2nd row with that lap time. As there is Jokubas Zukauskas, Lithuanian, gets himself up to P10 ahead of Mihail Valjak. He drops the Croatian out of the points. Axel Socki goes across the line, improves, but it's only P18. It was P18, it's P19 now, as Rosetta Martinez now goes up into 14th position in the UNI Virtuosi. And yeah, that is both UNI Virtuosis outside of the top 10, so they'll be looking to get an improvement in. So it was a bit of a puff of smoke from Martinez car there. He did go a bit off the track, so I think maybe he must have kicked up some dust or something. Either way, he will continue on this lap, which I believe is an in-lap, if I'm not mistaken. As Alex Luan sets an improvement, the Vietnamese man goes up into P16, P17, it's P18 as Aaron Curtis, the man who we saw in last position only a few minutes ago, now is P4. Great lap from Aaron Curtis, and that is certainly what the Irishman needs here in qualifying, as he could now guarantee himself a top 10 spot here in qualifying, as Hwang Min Nguyen gets himself ahead of the Irishman. Up into P3 goes Nguyen in the HWA. Obviously, HWA performing here then in qualifying, but it isn't the man in the leader championship. It's his teammate who sits in P3, while his teammate Stocky in the leader championship is down in P21. As we have Giuseppe in the commentary booth. Welcome back from your vacation.
Yeah, hello Miran. I actually just came back, but I decided why not join because F2 is on and F1 won't start. So I guess I'm here now.
Yeah. Lovely to have you back, Giuseppe. You're just witnessing the closing stages of qualifying here. Gabriel Gomez actually went on to provisional pole as you joined here, but yeah, Gomez now could be on for a first, I believe his first pole position in Formula 2, but immediately Henry J. Brown takes it back. It's a 1:30.0, almost a completely flat time there, but he has improved by a tenth of a second over Gabriel Gomez, so that's a very good lap from the Portuguese man.
Indeed it is. It's a good improvement, and you only have 2.5 minutes on the clock, so the driver's gonna have a tough time to beat that because it looks like a decent lap. Although the field is all in the 130s, so I'm gonna expect a 129 here. I'm gonna be honest.
We could very well have a 129. I mean, especially with Brown's lap time being set with about 2 minutes to go. Well, I think we'll definitely be able to get another improvement in, but I could be proven wrong. We'll just have to wait and see then what the end of qualifying will have in store for us as Gabriel Gomez comes into the pit lane. So yeah, an all Portuguese speaking 1-2 in qualifying at the moment, but we'll just have to wait and see if anyone else is going to be able to challenge for that pole, and we'll obviously have to keep our eyes peeled to see what the championship contenders, obviously the likes of Soki, Jimenez, and then Valiak will be able to do. All of them who are outside the top 5 at the moment.
Oh yeah, so we have Brown coming across the line. Can he improve his lap time? It's a good lap, but it's not enough to improve. I mean, it's consistent, but he stays at 1:30.002 as we have barely a minute left on the clock. And yeah, it seems like Brown right now could have the better of all the 22 drivers on this grid. But as you said, yeah, likes of Soki, we see him down in P21. But actually, correct me, the 129 has happened. It's Håkan Olsen with a 129.7. Now it's a very good lap time, and it brings him up to pole with only 1 minute remaining.
Yeah, that is an absolutely brilliant lap from Håkan Olsen. My word, over 2/10 from Henry J. Brown with about 40 seconds to go. I think that might just be it here in qualifying, but I could still be proven wrong, as we have seen previously in Formula 2. But yeah, brilliant lap from Håkan Olsen, and he could be on for his second pole position this season in F2.
Yeah, that time seems like a very good one, but even though there's only 15 seconds left, and even less now, still, we could see Brown improving again, maybe, if he doesn't come in, as Luan comes in, so he's not going to sit on one more lap time, as Brown now comes on the final corner. Brown, the final turn, what will it be? It's not going to be enough for an improvement, so Brown is not going to be on pole. That's a big improvement for Shotanos, who goes up to P3. Now, Olsen, will he be able to actually improve his lap time even more? Or will he come back to the pits?
I'm not sure. He's going to try it. Oh, locks up in the final corner. That's definitely not going to be an improvement for Håkan Olsen. He's going to go across the line and still sets a 1:30.1. So that would have been enough to get himself up into third. That is seriously impressive. You have to give it to the Norwegian right there, as Jean-Francois Bilot goes across the line and makes it a damn 1-2 here in qualifying, as he gets into second with a 1:29.8. Ari Soilu next across the line doesn't improve. Ollie Boaks goes up into P6 in the high tech. Tilsley across the line cannot improve, and on pole position is Håkan Olsen for the second time this season, and Jean-Francois Bilot lines up alongside him to make it a Dams 1-2. It's been a very long while since we've had a 1-2 in qualifying in F2. And yeah, that is the grid.
Yeah, the Dams car is looking very strong, especially after last year. I just saw that Bilot actually won last race, so Dams seems to be in a very good moment. Of course, I would say, if you talk about a championship fight, the drivers are just that close that we can't really say who is competing. But I mean, I guess we can say the championship leader, Soki, hasn't had that good of a qualifying session.
No, he's certainly not. But here is a bit of a fun fact. I believe this is the second ever time we have had a team lock out the front row in qualifying. And incidentally, last time out, Jean-Francois Bilot was also involved in it. But enough about the fun fact. It's time to go down to the grid and run you through it one last time before we get underway with the race. So, starting on pole position, the second time this season, Håkon Olsen pulling out a brilliant lap there at the end of qualifying and lining up on the front row. And all Dams 1-2, it's his teammate Jean-Francois Bilot lining up in second. Henry J. Brown takes third with Rowan Shotanas in P4. Then it is Gabriel Gomez in P5 with Ollie Boaks in sixth. Seventh goes to Hwang Min Nguyen as Aaron Curtis will take a very, very good eighth. And then Tobias Schwulenberg taking ninth with Ida Weitz rounding out the top 10.
And in 11th, we find Rodrigo Jimenez, and following him is Jakubas Žalkauskas. Then we have Michal Valjak, Willy Sundevik, Nikhil Valji. Then we have Konkun, Rosetta Martinez, Jake Tilsley is 18th, and Alex Van is 19th. Ari Soto lines up in 20th, Adam Hidayat is 21st, and in last place, shockingly, the championship leader, Axel Soki.
Yeah, he has got a lot to do today, but now then, gonna get down to the grid for 28 laps of Formula 2 action around the Hungaroring. We have 6 lights. And we're underway here at the Hungaroring. Good getaway for Håkon Olsen. Not as much for his teammate Jean-Francois Bilot then, as he might have to worry about fending off other cars into turn number 1. I think that is Ollie Boaks. They're 3 wide in the background. Yes, they are. Gomez round the outside line of both of them. Shotanas in the middle. Surprisingly, no accident there. But Ollie Boaks gets the pair of them. And that's Jakubas Žalkauskas. And he's tagged Axel Soki there into turn number 1. As there's the two Dams teammates. Bilot goes round the outside and takes the lead of the race from Håkon Olsen, the Frenchman, looking to make it 2 wins in a row here at the Hungaroring, as Shotanas now goes round the outside line of Aaron Curtis, tries to make it stick using all the track available to him, and a bit more even, as Žalkauskas is out. But that's Rowan Shotanas into P6. Quite a hectic start then, Giuseppe.
Yeah, indeed, we saw Žalkauskas spin round and then him tagging Soki, so we're gonna have a look at that now then, and as well as the start. So lights soon will go out. Yeah, it was a good start from the Dams cars, actually. Really good. Did not happen there. But yeah, Žalkauskas actually gets tagged by, I'm not sure who that is, but in an attempt to spin round, he just tags Soki. He was just not being careful. So that's on him, and Soki is the unlucky one who gets tagged. Already starting that far below down the grid. Now finds himself in an even worse situation. Meanwhile, the two Dams cars had a pretty good battle for, we saw there, Bilot went round the outside, now he's in the lead again. Gonna see it from Bilot's on board. As you mentioned, he didn't have that good of a start. But into turn 1 we go. It seems like Olsen has got it. So Bilot actually, with a very late braking, brings himself closer to Olsen once again. Olsen goes off the track a bit as well. As we see the two fighting into, that is turn 2. Bilot with a very, very daring move down the inside. Then is on the outside line for turn 3. And there we saw the move done. It was actually a very great move, and he's still first even now.
Yeah, it was a brilliant lunge from Jean-Francois Bilot. I don't think his teammate was expecting it at all. And now, well, that has put the Frenchman in the race lead once more, as we're now looking at Tobias Schwulenberg chasing down Ida Weitz for 10th here. So we'll see how this battle is going to play out then as we head down into turn number 12. I think that's someone running wide. That's Rodrigo Jimenez. Yes, it is. And Weitz is going to try to do his best to catch up to the man who's contending for the championship here.
Yeah, Jimenez is of the top 3 of the championship. He's having the best out of those because Malvalyak isn't in the points, and Soki even had a contact in the first turn. So Jimenez now would be getting points, so he's having the better off of it. But I think if Bilo actually ends up in the position he's in, he could very well become a championship contender.
Yeah, Jean-Francois Bilot has taken perfect advantage of the chaos of last race, and then obviously his less fortunate championship rivals above him in the championship. So I think this is really the perfect moment for Jean-Francois Bilot to be contending for wins and podiums, but it will not come easy. We're only on lap 2 out of 28. Håkan Olsen is still on the back of his teammate here, and you've got Henry J. Brown and Gabriel Gomez and even Ollie Boaks there behind, who are in very, very close proximity of the two Dams cars.
Yeah, Dam certainly want to keep this one too, and they were lucky that the two drivers raced very cleanly. That was very clean racing at the race, and now they're keeping their 1-2 position. But Brown seems very hungry to disrupt that 1-2 as of now, as he's very close behind them, but so is Gomez and Boaks. Sorry.
Yeah. This could prove to be a very, very interesting thing then, as Håkan Olsen has actually set the fast lap here, so that is quite interesting. Olsen actually proving to be the faster man on track between the two Dams cars at the moment, and considering now that we are on lap 3 and Olsen will be having the DRS to his aid very soon, I think now might be the time for Olsen to strike on his teammate.
Yeah, if he does have the fast lap and he looks close as well, he just needs to find that gap. We know the Hungaroring, it's not the easiest one to overtake on, but if he does have the pace, I'm sure he can find a gap somewhere. As we are looking at Roman Shotanus, who's very close to Ollie Boaks as well. This would be the fight for which is P5. As of now, though, things stay calm, but that might change soon.
Yeah, it could very well change here. As Shotanus chases down Boaks through turn number 11. Ollie Boaks, who came off strong with a podium at Paul Ricard, was denied another points finish at Silverstone, so to make up for it, Boaks will be looking for a good result here, so you can imagine he will be trying to hold back Rowan as much as possible here. As we round the final corner then, DRS is going to be engaged for Rowan Shotanus, then into turn number 1. Will he be able to try a move as Jean-Francois Bilot now has the fast lap of the race? Into turn 1 we go though, and unfortunately Shotanus is going to have to stay back for the time being. Runs a bit wide on exit there, and Boaks is able to pull away by a tiny bit.
Yes, the situation in the top 5 stays the same now as we're on to lap 4. Shotanus though still looks very close, and I think we might see a move soon. But while we are on the topic of overtaking, I've seen many drivers actually having trouble staying on the track as well. So I guess we won't go too harsh on that, but it seems like they're really trying to get every single piece of the track to get the best out of it, because that's what it looks like to me right now.
Yeah, everyone just pushing the limits of the track boundaries, especially during battling we saw. I think it was a battle between Shotanus and Curtis. Rowan just went completely off the track to try and overtake. So, yeah, especially during battling, drivers do like to push boundaries. As we now head into the final corner, and Shotanus just has to try and maximize his exit here to try and get a good run onto Ollie Boaks, as Jean-Francois Bilot now sets the fast lap of the race, and the advantage swings from one Dam's car to another.
Yeah, Dam's looking very strong, but while we are on the topic of that's Shotana's off. He was looking very close to Box, but maybe just pushed it a bit too much, and now he's lost all that gap once again. He needs to be careful to not drop out of the 1 second gap because he's 1.09 off now. As we have a very interesting battle here in the midfield. As we have Bites, that's Schwulenberg actually having a bit of a look, not making anything out of it just yet. Goes wide as well, a bit on the grass as well. Doesn't lose control of the car though. So the midfield looks like we're gonna have a lot of battles here because they're all put up in one pack. So we're gonna have to expect many overtakes.
Yeah, very, very close in the midfield then, as we go a bit further up this midfield pack, and we're looking at Hwangmin Nguyen, who's chasing down Aaron Curtis then, and we'll see how this battle will play out. Nguyen, as you said, Hungarian, a pretty difficult track to overtake at and find opportunities due to how narrow it is as well. We'll see how Nguyen will be able to tackle this then.
As we see them coming around the final corner onto the straight, as we head onto lap 7. DRS open. Will he be able to close the gap enough and try and move around the into the first corner? Yes. No, actually. No. Oh, that's contact there. Actually, might be a bit of a bump and run for Nguyen because now he tries to go past, and I don't know if that was that clean or not, but it was certainly not clean. But he's found the move past, and now Jimenez is putting Curtis under pressure. Curtis is certainly not happy with that.
Yeah, I can assure you the Irishman won't be happy about that. At least he's able to hold off Rodrigo Jimenez then, but now Jimenez didn't get the greatest of runs. Either Weitz could try to go round the outside line, but the Brazilian shuts the door. Weitz goes for it anyway. Yeah, unfortunately, it comes to nothing for Ida Weitz. Tobias Schwulenberg there in the background was a bit unsettled by Ida Weitz, and Weitz's teammate Walsh is going to try to go wheel to wheel with him through the chicane. They actually somehow do keep it wheel to wheel. Walsh is now going to try to go around the outside line to get himself up into P11 on Tobias Schwulenberg here, and the Canadian wrestles his way past the German. Up into 11th he goes. Great battle.
Yeah, but actually a really clean move, and they kept the respect there. Didn't make contact, but now we have another battle on our hands, as it's Martinez and Tilsley. I'm pretty sure Martinez gonna have a look down the outside, but was off the track. Doesn't go for the move around the inside. Actually, he does go. Easy, close enough to make it stick. As many drivers go off, Tilsley included, so that might give him an opening around the outside. He goes to the last corner and might line up side by side onto the straight as he goes very wide. Tilsley, now using the DRS.
Yeah, he actually got a great run on that final corner, and he's utilizing that momentum to go into Alex Luan. The defense has turned into offense for Jake Tilsley, as he's going to go to the inside line of Alex Luan here, as the two are going to go wheel to wheel, then heading down into turn number 2 and 3 with the help of the DRS. Tilsley is going to try to swing it around the outside line, but Luan very strong on the defense here, as Martinez is now fighting Thundertorn Konkum there. As Tilsley, will he still be able to go on to Alex Luan here? Yes, he is. On the outside line, Luan shoves him off the track, but it's nothing for Jake as he gets to move down. Great battle.
And it's not over yet for Luan because Martinez now puts him under pressure. Again, Luan has lost it. Martinez goes past without contact somehow. It's actually spun into the corner again. I think had a bit of a spin. So Luan had a big moment there, as we have Hidayat and Soilu fighting as well. What's happening in the midfield? Because these are some very interesting battles here. As we now have the battle for P19 between Soilu and Hidayat. Soilu goes down the inside. Hidayat goes off the track. Will he line it up into the inside for the next corner? No, he doesn't. Soilu has the position for now. That might change soon, but for now, Soilu is up into P19.
Yeah, great battles we're seeing here in the midfield. It is what you love to see. And as we've been focusing on all this midfield chaos, Jean-Francois Bidon has been able to pull away from Håkon Olsen by 1.5 seconds, as Rodrigo Jimenez runs very wide out of turn number 1, and Ida Weitz is immediately going to try and take advantage of it as he goes round the outside line, dips a wheel into the grass even, as he's going to try to make the move stick, but unfortunately for Weitz, he will have to stay in 10th for the time being.
Yeah, maybe that wheel into the grass wasn't the best idea because that lost him some momentum and didn't make him allow him to make the move stick. But Jimenez, a lot under pressure here, as Weitz might try a move once again soon.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see then what he is going to be able to do. Jimenez could be at risk of finishing outside the points, as we're now looking at Henry J. Brown in third. Could try and split up this Dams 1-2, as he could try and get himself up at the second here, chasing down Håkon Olsen, but he runs very wide out of the penultimate corner, and that's not going to do him any wonders. That could invite Gabriel Gomez to this battle for second.
Yes, Henry J. Brown is very close as well as Gomez. Meanwhile, below has pulled away, but it's all eyes on Olsen in the Dams garage because they really want to keep this 1-2. As I think it would be the second ever in F2 history. I'm not sure about that, but I think
right,
because it has happened once already. I think in the first season or the second. I'm not sure which one, but very early on. And now it might happen again. I mean, you know the commentator's curse, so I'm not gonna say it will happen, but that's why I say might. But actually, let's cut back to this battle for P9 because Weitz once again puts pressure on Rodrigo Jimenez. Once again around the same corner, but can't make anything of it. Seems like that isn't the move to go for Weitz because he's just not getting anything out of it and staying in P10.
Yeah, Ida Weitz unfortunately just isn't able to punch his way through on Rodrigo Jimenez at the moment. The path remains closed for Ida Weitz, and he'll just have to try again whenever he spots the opportunity. But yeah, Giuseppe, you are right. The last time we had a team finish 1-2 was ART Grand Prix back in the 2017 Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Do you know who also won that race?
Jean-François Bilot, wasn't it?
Indeed, it was. Yeah, history maybe does like to repeat itself, or maybe not repeat itself, but it does like to rhyme, I guess. As Henry J. Brown then is gonna try to make sure that history doesn't repeat itself here, and he is gonna try to get himself up into second to break apart this Dams 1-2, as these three looking very, very close on pace at the moment. But I just have to say, Giuseppe, Jean-François Bilot at the moment, he just looks untouchable. As
Yeah,
we're
he's
gonna see
very
Rodrigo Jimenez. Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt you here. We're gonna see Rodrigo Jimenez attempting an absolute attempted a super dive there on Aaron Curtis and made it stick, and Curtis is gonna come under pressure from another driver, Ida Weitz, as Curtis could lose 2 positions in 3 corners here, and unfortunately it does happen for Aaron Curtis, as both Jimenez and Weitz get past the Irishman, and that drops the Campos driver down to 10th.
Yeah, Curtis, who actually beforehand had that contact with Nguyen. I'm not sure what the stewards will have to say about that, because that, I mean, it was kind of interesting, but he did make the move, and Curtis seems to have lost some momentum from that. He's still in the points, but he must recover somehow because he was in an even better position beforehand. As we cut back to the battle for the podium spot, Henry J. Brown once again close to Håkan Olsen. Can't seem to make a move though, and he's as well under pressure by Gomez. Any mistake could even put him off the podium and put Gomez onto it.
Yes, indeed. We'll have to see how the situation is going to play out, as it is looking very, very spicy indeed, this battle for second. But yeah, I think obviously the contact between Curtis and Nguyen could have had something to do with Curtis's car. He might have picked up a tiny bit of damage, which could be impacting his lap times, as Nikhil Walji would want to be the next man to get past Aaron Curtis, and he could try and do that and drop the Irishman out of points completely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why he's lost using that many positions all of a sudden. Might have had damage actually from kind of before, but that only means better news for Walji, as he might make the possible overtake for P10 easier for him. But for now, we cut back to the battle for P2, P3, P4 once again. MVG Brown still close, looking for gaps. As we see the drivers, very nice camera angle here of the drivers going quickly down the corner. And as we see a bit of below as well, who is in his own world. We've seen people be in different galaxies, we call it that, because we've seen people 10 seconds ahead, but below has a very comfortable lead. Olsen not so much, because he's having to defend from two very podium-hungry drivers here.
Yeah, I think it's unfair to set the standard at 10 seconds for what we classify as a very big race lead, considering it's a spec series. I think still 2 seconds is an astronomical race lead compared or to spec series standards, I'd say at least. But yeah, we have seen bigger victories, you're right on that one. Either way, while one Dams driver is enjoying himself at the moment, the other one is having two other cars breathe down his neck at the moment. So yeah, it is getting very close there in the top 3 or the top or for the second place, and also the midfield. Look how close this pack is, Giuseppe.
Yeah, we've seen it all race, battles all the race. It's pretty much everyone from P7 and below is in this group, but Barasaki, because of that contact early on in the race. So it's really interesting to see how it plays out, because it's not just like non-points paying positions midfield, it's even points paying positions as well. So it's going to be interesting to see which driver finishes where, and if one of the drivers can even catch up to the main group of, we could say, like the top 5, top 6. But for now the situation stays the same, as we are slowly approaching somewhat the half of the race.
Yeah, we're almost approaching the halfway point of the race, so yeah, it is gonna get interesting here, as we're now looking at Hwangmin Nguyen. He is chasing down Rowan Shotanos here for 6th. As he's gonna have the DRS to his aid then. Heading down to turn number 1, Shotanos, who we saw chasing down Ollie Boaks a few laps earlier, hasn't been able to keep up with the brilliant high tech. Oh, that was either Weitz locking up. And Nikhil Walji now facing pressure from Tobias Schulenberg, who had a look on the outside line. He's going to switch to the inside line into turn number 3, tries to put the pressure on Nikhil Walji, and he's going to go around the outside through turn 4, or turn 3 that is, and he gets the move done on Nikhil Walji. Great stuff from Tobias Schulenberg.
Yeah, Walji, we saw him going off there, so Schulenberg has a bit of a gap, and now his next target could very well be Curtis, dropping him out of the points and putting Schulenberg on them, in them. As looking a bit through the field, seems very compact, but no one really in striking distance. We could say maybe Nguyen, and of course the top 4 group, but other than that, seems like the driver is now, well, seen the overtake just now, but oh, well, correct me on that, because Nguyen, as I said, he was close and he has made the overtake, as we didn't see that, so we're gonna look at the replay here.
I think it might have been a mistake from Rowan Shotanos. We'll have to see then. This is heading down into turn number 12, and oh, big lockup for Rowan Shotanos, and he tried to re-enter the track, but Nguyen was just immediately alongside him, so he had to change his course in order to avoid a collision, and now Nguyen is up into 6th.
Very well done from Nguyen from taking advantage of that mistake, because it happens in a matter of split second, so you have to be ready for mistakes like that, and that puts him into P6. Shotanos, pretty sure he's not happy with himself there. But he's still very close, so it's not over yet. Another man who's very close as well to points paying positions is Tobias Schulenberg, who might drop Curtis out of them, as he is very close onto the straight with DRS, putting him even closer. Don't think he's close enough to try and move though. As we look at Valyak and Luan in the group in general, Luan actually trying to move around the outside onto Martinez. Doesn't pay off, as he stays behind, and he has to watch out for Konkum as well, who's very close. But yeah, the midfield today looking very willing to battle, I guess we could put it in that way. Let's look at that. That's Konkum actually trying a move around the inside. Luan though defends well. Konkum now into the chicane. Can he try a move? No, he backs down.
Yeah, great battles in this lower part of the midfield, which has been so active today, really, in terms of battles. We've seen so much.
Yeah, you do indeed love to see it. I mean, that means more speaking for us to do, but otherwise the viewers do love to see it. We do love to see it as well. Another battle we're looking at in the midfield. Tobias Schulenberg now him and Curtis heading on the final corner. Schulenberg is also gonna have the DRS to his advantage, and he's looking very close. So moving to turn 1 is possible as they drive quickly down the straight. He stays behind him for now. Oh, actually he bumps into him. Curtis gets bumped into him once again. I'm pretty sure he's not happy with that as he gets flashbacks. But Schulenberg doesn't do the same that Nguyen did and just goes past. He stays behind. Might have gotten damage from that, I don't know, but that was very weird. He just went into him.
Yeah, Aaron Curtis doesn't seem to be able to catch a break today. But yeah, Tobias Schulenberg getting a bit impatient and just tries to get past as we go back to the battle for second. And Håkon Olsen has closed the gap on his teammate by about 1/10 of a second, at least from last time we were looking at him.
Yeah, as the situation in top 4 has stayed the same for now, but the gaps, they look close, but then nothing ever happens. But, you know, for these positions, the drivers tend to be a bit more careful about what they're doing because you don't want to lose a position like P3. Of course, you want to go beyond that if you're that close to P2. But if you make a mistake, your whole race can just go from a P3 to a DNF. So I can see why I can see why there's less happening here than in the midfield. But honestly, Brown has been looking very close in the last few laps, but so has Gomez.
Yeah, they've just kind of remained in a state of limbo. I suppose that Schulenberg's now going to dive down the inside of Aaron Curtis, heading into turn number 1, and Curtis can barely fight back. Schulenberg sails past it to 10th.
Yes, Curtis unfortunately drops back into the non-points blank positions. He can't catch a break today, and he's still not catching it because Valji is now close to him, but good move from Schulenberg. He is now happy to P10.
Yes, indeed, and that puts both Premas into the points now. As Henry J. Brown is still on the back of Håkon Olsen. I talked about how it appeared that Olsen was gaining on below. Apparently not, as the gap has gone up to 2.5 seconds now. So, yeah, I think Dam's car's just fooling us a bit. Either way, Henry J. Brown, if he still wants a shot at contending for the race lead here, he's going to have to get past Olsen right about now, as now we're seeing Henry J. Brown is trying to close in on Håkon Olsen as Jimenez and Veit are having a battle. But Henry J. Brown's now going to finally go to the inside line, and they make contact. I think it was contact between the two.
It was.
Brown making contact with the side pod of Håkon Olsen, but it is enough for Henry J. Brown to break up the two Dams cars, and he gets up into second. And here is Ide Veit and Rodrigo Jimenez, and this battle finally culminating as Ide Veit having to now defend round the outside line. Rodrigo Jimenez on the inside is going to have the outside through turn number 3, tries to hang it on, but it's not enough for the Brazilian. Unfortunately, Ide Veit comes out as the eventual victor. Now let's see what happened here, because we saw the battle going on earlier between Ide Veit and Rodrigo Jimenez on the timing screens.
Yeah, we were looking of course at the battle for P2, but here, that's Jimenez going wide. Veit immediately takes advantage of that as they're side by side into the penultimate turn. Very good racing. Veit actually goes wide as well, so he backed off again as we saw the two switching positions. So Whites did go ahead, but then dropped behind because of the going a bit wide. Now onto the main straight. Whites probably got enough DRS and managed to attempt to move into the first turn. Actually, correct me on that, but he does end up very close, and
Oh,
yeah, he managed to make some mistake there.
yeah, Jimenez locked up. Weitz forced him into an error. But I have to say, that is brilliant driving from the Weitz, though. Into the last corner. Instead of opting to try and go alongside him, he actually... let's see this, though, before I talk more about it. The Weitz and Brown locked up. So Henry J. Brown locked up into turn 1, made contact with the rear wheel of Håkon Olsen, and I think Olsen is not going to be too happy about that, but Brown, I don't think it was much of a hit and run. In fact, I think it compromised Brown more than Olsen. So Henry was still able to get the move done, but he's got quite a monumental gap to clear now, as it's 2.7 to Jean-Francois Bilot here.
And Bilot is in a world of his own apparently, because this race is just comfortably been leading all race long. But the battle for P2 on the other hand has been very exciting. Just bike games and essentially a move with a bit of contact as well. But Olsen might even drop out of the podium completely, because look at who's very close behind him. That's Gomez, and the gap is very little.
Yeah. Gomez could try and, as you said, drop Olsen out of the podium completely. We'll see if he's going to be able to do that. It took Brown an excruciatingly long amount of time, and it might just be the same, unfortunately, for Gabriel Gomez if he doesn't get a move on. But, yeah, we'll see then if Gomez will be able to secure his first podium of the season. Gabriel, I have to say, who's remained crazy consistent this season, finished in the points every single race, obviously bar Paul Ricard, but yeah, he's finished consistently in the points, and it is that type of consistency which earns you results. As we now see him head down into turn 12. Still trying to push Olsen here. He runs a bit wide himself. Could lose him about a tenth or two then. As yeah, we'll just have to wait and see if Gomez will be able to get past him then now, as we're going to approach the start-finish straight. Just around the final corner now, and DRS engaged for Gabriel Gomez, but I don't think he's close enough here.
Yeah, he can bring himself closer, but I don't think it was possible, and he knows that. He stays behind for now, looking for better opportunities. As we step back to the midfield battle, looking at Nikhil Volgi, because he looks very close to backfiring Curtis. Doesn't attempt any move, but he might into turn 2 with the second DRS straight. Even though he does look a bit too far back for that. But yeah, this midfield group stays as close as ever, and I don't think that will change.
No, it hasn't. It's been so close the entire race, and really I don't think we can see a change as we go back up to the fight for third. And Gomez just has to try and remain patient behind Olsen, try and not slip up into little mistakes as he's trying to follow the Norwegian and just try and close down that gap as much as possible. Easier said than done, obviously, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see if Gomez has what it takes. One thing I'd like to talk about, Giuseppe, though, is Henry J. Brown at the moment. We talked about how that gap was about 3 seconds when he overtook Håkon Olsen. He's halved it. And there is still a decent amount of time left to go in the race. So if Brown keeps up this pace, obviously it's not known if he'll actually be able to do that, but if he does keep this pace up consistently throughout these last 8 laps, Jean-Francois Bilot's race lead might not be so certain.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I mean, for now he's staying around that 1.5 gap, but considering he's gained 1 second, if he keeps on doing that, I mean, he will have more than enough time to try and move.
Yeah, as there is Martinez then. He's going to go to the inside line of Tilsley. As the two are going to go wheel to wheel. Martinez on the inside line. Tilsley tries to swing around the outside line there. They're up ahead as well. Michal Valjac's going to try to go around the outside line of Nikhil Walji. As the two go wheel to wheel. Walji's going to have the outside line though. Now through turn number 3. And Valjak can't fight back against the experienced Canadian and has to stay in 13th. We go back to this battle for third between Olsen and Gomez. Currently 2 Dams cars in the podium. Gomez will be trying to make it only 1 on the podium here today.
Yeah, Dams is still gonna have a pretty good race result though, with first and third. And even though the race is not over, maybe Olsen finds pace from nowhere and catches up to Brown again. But for now, I'd say that's a pretty good result for Dams. But they might want to keep the double podium, and Olsen's gonna do anything to keep that at least, because he surely does not want to lose this one. But then again, Gomez looks very, very close to him and he has looked close to the podium for all these laps, but he stayed there in 4th, patiently waiting. But honestly, now that the race is coming to slowly but surely coming to a close, he might have to make a move.
He might have to indeed, as we go down a few more positions. Back to Michal Valjak, who is chasing down Nikhil Walji, tries to have a look on the outside line, but just there isn't any space there for him, or not space, but he just isn't close enough really.
Yeah, Valjak, who stayed in 13th pretty much all this race, but he looks very close to 12th, and even Curtis to be fair, so he could get himself up into 11th. But so can any driver in that group, honestly, because they're all that close that you can't really tell.
Indeed. It is really, really close in the midfield at the moment. And who knows, one little thing could be like a match to a flame, really. When it comes to the midfield, one driver slips up into the rear, another one tries to go for it, and that could just kick off a whole plethora of events in the midfield. So that's the thing, when cars are so tightly packed together, you can't afford to make mistakes. And speaking of it, Michal Valjak just ran wide, and while it didn't cost him too much, he has lost quite a significant amount of time on Nikhil Walji, and if he's not careful, really Sundevik could try and do something there. But yeah, little room for error when you're in packs like this. So yeah, you can, as we saw with Valjak, making one mistake is probably alright, but yeah, if it's a bit more difficult to try and keep your position if you constantly keep making mistakes. As we go back, or we not go back, we go back to this battle for 8th. Jimenez has not called it quits yet on fighting Ida Weitz for 8th, and he is on the back of the Swede at the moment for 8th.
Yeah, the two have been going at it all race pretty much, with the latest move happening that Weitz overtook the Brazilian. But he's really not gonna just sit there and take that, because he seems very close and he could get that P8 back.
Indeed, we will just have to wait and see what he is going to be able to do as we head into the final corner. Jimenez runs a bit wide there, and that's not going to do him any wonders.
Bless you.
Thank you. I thought I hit the mute button on my microphone. Apparently I didn't. So now I sneezed on stream, which is something I tend to not like to do. But yeah, Nikhil Walji then, as we look to the man in 12th, chasing down Aaron Curtis. Curtis Thought the suffering was over for him when he got overtaken by De White, but yeah, it's just gotten worse and worse for the Irishman. This is really not his race. So yeah, he'll just have to keep his head down and focus on the next one. So we head through the chicane then. We've got about 5 laps left then in this Hungarian Grand Prix. Henry J. Brown, who we were talking about closing in on Jean-Francois below, has done the total opposite, and the gap is back up to 2.7 seconds, as it was when Brown overtook Olsen. So, yeah, Henry hasn't really been able to do much there, and I think, unfortunately, he will just have to settle for second place at best.
Yeah, indeed, below just somehow found a lot of pace and is now 3 seconds up, even more than he was on Olsen. And actually, Brown has some sort of backwards effect because Olsen has caught up to Brown, so I'd say it's more Brown losing pace than below, but I guess it's both at the same time. But now Olsen has the chance to get that Dams 1-2 back, although he has to do it quickly because it's only 5 laps to go.
Yeah, time is running out for these guys as they are back in a pack. Just that Henry J. Brown now leads this pack instead of Håkon Olsen. So yeah, this could get very interesting. You could have Håkon Olsen try and reinstate that Dams 1-2 and try and re-overtake Henry J. Brown, because you can see Henry is struggling with pace at the moment. The gap's up to 3.3 now. So Brown probably tried to push as much as he could after he overtook Håkon Olsen, and now he's going to have to back off a bit. And now, unfortunately, he's facing a bit of pressure from Olsen. So we head down the start-finish straight. Olsen with the DRS probably won't be able to close up to Brown. It's turn down 1 though.
Yes, once again, we head back to the battle between Jimenez and Bites. These looked very close, but one thing I must say, it's only 4 laps to go. Right now, it does seem like Bites is gonna eventually, at the end of the race, have the better of Rodrigo Jimenez, but don't count him out just yet. But don't count anyone out, honestly, in this race, because I'm seeing many different battles across the field, but then again, time is not on their side, because right now it's I guess if we're gonna be really exact, 3.5 laps to go. So it's either now or never, as you've heard me say often. I like that phrase, but it really is now or never. But yeah, we do stay with Jimenez here. Of course, trying to bring yourself closer to Ide, but not, you stay there between that 0.5, half a second gap. Can't do enough to bring yourself closer though, but a chance where he could do it is especially in the 3rd sector at the end and onto the straight using the DRS. So now they're gonna both come round the final corner, and might I add, actually Schulenberg, his teammate, has also caught up, so this might turn into a 3-way battle for P4. Sorry, not P4, P8. So yeah, DRS open. So he's gonna bring himself closer. Doesn't try a gap though. He knows it's not worth it to go for a dive from that far, which could only end in a bad way. But then onto the second DRS straight. Yeah, he's getting very, very close. I must say that he's getting very close. Just does not seem like it's enough. So now we do just stay patient, because patience brings a lot of things, but of course we do want to head to battles like these as well, and like with battles like these, I mean the battle for P2. Brown v Olsen is being, of course, we saw that overtake beforehand with Brown bumping into Olsen. Or even though it was a lockup, maybe Olsen isn't that happy about that. He might want to get back onto him. Hopefully not in a too destructive way, or maybe even hopefully in a clean way. But for now, we're gonna head round the final corner as well, for which will be lap 27. The stream is a bit laggy from our side on Discord, so I can't really read it out. But he's gonna use the DRS to bring himself closer. He's very close. You can see him there, but doesn't seem like it's enough. But actually, look at Bites. Bites goes away from battle with Jimenez, and now he's battling Shotanus. Shotanus goes a bit wide, and that means Bites is now up into P7. So Bites pressures Shotanus into a mistake. Shotanus now might even be under pressure from the two Primo guys.
Yeah, good move from either Vice, and I have to say he's been really solid this race. But Rodrigo Jimenez will not be wanting to leave the Swede alone. He's going to try to get past Ron Shotanas as well, I'm sure of it. As we now head through the chicane and heading into turn number 8, Jimenez will be wanting to put the pressure on Rowan Shotanas just like Ida Weitz did, and now it is getting very, very close. Jimenez will have to do this quickly, or not quickly, but he'll have to try and not pressure himself into a mistake here, because he's got his teammate Tobias Schulenberg there behind, who could strike at a moment's notice if he'd so want to. So we're now on the final lap of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Schulenberg in the background running a bit wide, and now this is going to be Jimenez's last chance, I do think, to try and get past Rowan Shotanas for 8th, as he's going to have the DRS to his aid now. Shotanas gets none of it, so Jimenez will have the overspeed heading into turn number 1. Is he going to be able to line up a move? No. It's going to have to stay behind into turn number 1, Giuseppe.
Yeah, indeed, it's looking very close now towards the final lap. It's looking very close. The midfield, the battle for P2. Don't really know where to start. But one thing is and stands is the fact that these drivers do not have any time at all left, and it's only now that they can try and do those moves and actually solidify their position. But for now, we look at Håkan Olsen, who these are his last chances to get back onto the podium spots, but I don't think he seems close enough. So Brown, with some good enough defense, will be able to bring that P2 home. So we're gonna cut back to, well, Jean-Francois Bilot, the man who has been unbothered throughout the entire race. Lined up, go on.
Sorry, you'll do it.
Oh yeah, lined up that perfect overtake at the start. Took advantage of it cleanly, and now he's gonna come across the line to win his second race in a row. Jean-Francois Bilot wins the Hungarian Grand Prix. Brown comes home into second. The hopes of a 1-2 do not happen. Olsen comes into third. Gomez ultimately stays fourth. Weitz 7th. The long battle with Shotanas and Jimenez. Shotanas finishes 8th, Jimenez 9th, Schulenberg 10th. In 56 we have Boxen and Nui, I didn't mention them. So yeah, Soki, the last man to finish after that unlucky contact at the start. Championship leader. I don't know if he still is championship leader, but the championship leader before the Hungarian Grand Prix did not have that good of a race. Had a lonely race down in 23rd position, and he crosses across the line. And that's all the drivers who have crossed the finish line now. And here are our results.
Yeah, and it is going to be Jean-Francois Bilot taking a second win in a row. I believe he is the only man to take consecutive victories in Formula 2 since Daniel Walle in 2019. So I believe he becomes the second man to take. No, sorry, third driver. My apologies. No, I believe fourth even. Okay, now I'm just contradicting myself here, but yeah, he takes his second consecutive victory. Let's just put it at that. Henry J. Brown finishes second with Håkon Olsen rounding out the top three. As you said, not a 1-2 for Dams as they would have hoped, but still a double podium for the French outfield. They'll be very happy about that. Gabriel Gomez finishes fourth once again in the points as Ollie Boaks is P5. Juanmin Nguyen is sixth with Ida Weitz in seventh. Then it's Rowan Shortanis in eighth, and Rodrigo Jimenez gets one extra point to his name and for Prema as he gets the fastest lap of the race, and Tobias Schulenberg takes the last points spot.
Yeah, in 11th is Aaron Curtis, who had a very eventful race with many contacts as well. Sadly, finishes outside of the points. Nicky Walji finished in second, Mihail Vayak in 13th. Sundevik with actually the fastest lap sector, that's a neat fact, but he finished in 14th. Tilsley in 15th. Then we have Rosetta Martinez in 16th, Alex Luan in 17th, Turton Konkum in 18th, Ari Soli in 19th, and Adam Hidat in 20th. So it's good to know that all of these drivers I just mentioned actually had a battle between each other, so it was a very eventful race, and we love to see that. And in 21st, we have Axel Soki, and the man of DNF that starts the race, Sukauskas, is our only DNF in 22nd.
Right then, so that has been it for Formula 2. Thanks so much for watching. It's been a very, very interesting race, I do have to say so myself. Before we go, it is time to award driver of the day. And personally, I am going to give it to Ida Weitz. I think he drove a fantastic race today. Started, I think, was it outside the points? I'm not sure if he did start outside the points. I will have to check that. But either way, he made a lot of good overtakes. Had a very solid battle with Rodrigo Jimenez today as well. So, yeah, he did very well today. And I think he deserves my driver of the day.
Yeah, honestly, I can only agree with you there. It was a very good race from Weitz. Good overtakes all around. So, I'm going to have to agree with you there on that one.
Yep. So, Ida Weitz gets our driver of the day then. But yeah, that has been it for Formula 2 today. Thanks so much for watching. But don't worry, the action at the Hungarian does not end. Later on, we are going to have the main event, the Formula 1 Hungarian Grand Prix for round 7 of the Formula 1 Championship. The championship battle between the two Mercedes drivers will continue on. We're also going to have Super Formula at Sepang, so make sure to not miss that. But yeah, until then, I have been Miran.
Giuseppe.
Thank you for watching Formula 2, and we will see you when the ACC returns for the Formula 1 Hungarian Grand Prix. Thank you, and goodbye.